William Dar served for the second time as the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture. His first stint as Agri-Chief was in 1998 to 1999 under the administration of President Joseph Ejercito Estrada. To date, he is the only Filipino who has led a global agricultural research institute, the International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, headquartered in India. He served for 3 consecutive 5-year terms from 2000 to 2014. His extensive research and professional experience include crop management, farming systems development, and technology sharing and upscaling. Dr. Dar earned his bachelor's degree in agricultural education in 1969 and master's degree in agronomy in 1976 at the then Mountain State Agricultural College, now known as Benguet State University or BSU in La Trinidad, Benguet. At BSU, he started as a researcher and instructor in 1979 and rose to become Professor 6 and Vice President for the Research and Development Support Services in 1985. In between those years, Dr. Dar pursued his doctorate degree in horticulture at UPLB, completing it in 1980. When the DA was reorganized in 1987, Dr. Dar was appointed as the first director of the DA Bureau of Agricultural Research. He also served as executive director of PICARD from 1994 to 1998. He received 8 honorary doctorate degrees in various fields from several state universities and colleges in the Philippines. And in December 2016, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte honored Dr. Dar with the 2016 Outstanding Filipino Award for his exemplary achievements and selfless dedication to his profession that made significant contributions to the betterment of his countrymen and to his country as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, DA Secretary William D. Dar.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. And let me greet our very hardworking Chancellor of UPLB, Chancellor Dong Camacho, and the other officials of UPLB, the likes of the Dean of the College of Agriculture and Food, Dean Agbisit, and the panelists of today's important video conference with this title, The Mind and Science of Innovations. Let me begin by expressing my appreciation for the honor of addressing you today. I'm sure that all of you participating in this important forum realize that you are part of a long tradition. Your studies and your various curricular programs form part of an endeavor, a tradition started by some of the most prominent names in the field of agriculture in the Philippines, including that of Dr. Eupemula Rasco. I hope you feel a sense of pride in being part of that tradition. I want to express the Duterte's administration's appreciation for what you are doing and what you will do for our country in the days ahead. And this forum will define or identify the way forward in terms of what is that kind of agriculture that we want to see a generation from now or more. There are a few things, next slide. There are a few things that make me more hopeful about the future than seeing young people studying to bring science and innovation to our agriculture sector. So there is this very popular quotation by Steve Jobs. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And I believe that as an institution, UPLB is a leader and will continue to be the leader given the future-proofing directions that you are starting to pursue, and including that of course, futures thinking, as has been mentioned by the Chancellor Dong Camacho. So let me, as I've said, UP Los Baños, being part of the UP system and autonomously is one of the top Philippine universities in research productivity in science, engineering, and health. And this is found and mentioned by the Institutes for Research, Innovation, and Scholarship, IRIS. So I believe that you would like always to go much higher than where you are today by way of reinventing or strengthening existing programs, curricular programs, including that of your science and innovations or research for development for that matter. This is the first challenge I would like to pose the university, UPLB. What is the role of higher educational institution broadly, okay? Because I have been moving around the country, strengthening the partnership between the Department of Agriculture and that of the universities and colleges in agriculture, or broadly higher educational institutions. I always ask this question: are the universities part in solving poverty, ending poverty? Are the universities part in enhancing economic development? Now, this leads to the very outcome of, say, universities in terms of developing quality human capital. So creating a quality workforce is one of the keys to enhancing that engagement of the university to economic development and ending poverty. Well, why did I mention poverty here? Because still poverty is the number one problem in the country today. Ang kahirapan. Okay, even for example, asking ourselves, have we been a part? I mean, I'm talking about UPLB, a part of transforming Los Baños as a municipality, or the whole of province of Laguna, just to highlight a case in point. So have we measured the degree of contribution to this transformation of the municipality or the province? If we have not done much, even in our municipality where we are hosted, or in the province where we must have the impact area of all our offerings, curricular, all our research for development or extension services, then I would say we have not done so much, and we have to rethink, because that's very simple. Again, much more in the future, are we really impacting? Are we creating more of the enhanced transformation of the agriculture and rural areas, for example? And for that matter, seeing to it that the universities continue to drive innovation system. And of course, as I've mentioned, and I've seen the facts, that UPLB has been one, or I would say the national university in agriculture, in agricultural innovation system, in research. But again, I would highly mention research for development must be the paradigm this time around. Now, increasing employability of the graduates. only 10 to 15% of our graduates in general are employed with government, but majority of our graduates are there not properly employed. They are underemployed or no employment at all. And so, have we considered this in strengthening our curricular programs so that not only employability will be enhanced, but even entrepreneurship as a paradigm will be now greatly considered by UPLB. So down the line, we need to continue feeding into the knowledge-based economy of the country, but seeing to it that this knowledge and technologies must contribute to economic development, much more reducing, if not ending, poverty. Now, this I would like to say that these are the pathways for higher educational institutions to be guided accordingly. When you do quality research, quality teaching and innovation also is present. When you do and you have quality teaching and innovation, then this will result to quality human capital. And when you have quality human capital, this will attract investments and will lead to economic development, thereby eradicating poverty. So presently, we continue at the Department of Agriculture to influence also policy shifts from the present to much higher elevated development of the sector of agriculture. So these are after the initial bout that we have with this COVID-19 pandemic, having to have now a new food security development framework. We saw to it that we adjust ourselves, our programs, plans and programs on this food systems policy shift to sustainably feed a growing population in the new normal. So I hope the university also aligns itself and even create much more of these policy shifts as a result of your research for development. Now, even starting this year, transforming the new thinking that we had, because the new thinking is, I would consider, sowing the seeds, so to speak, for us to transform Philippine agriculture under OneDA reform agenda, pillars and key strategies. So here you can see 4 pillars with various key strategies underneath. And again, the importance of quality human capital developed by higher educational institution is key, and that is the pillar of professionalization and towards doing much of these big strategies like farm consolidation, modernization of the sector, and industrialization. So that vision of a food secure and resilient Philippines with empowered and prosperous farmers and fishers will happen. So this is what I say, sowing the seeds for the future, and hoping that the higher educational institutions and or UPLB for that matter will be our big partner to make it possible to populate knowledge, information, strategies, approaches to make it possible to enhance this, because we feel that this will be the basic foundation of Philippine agriculture transforming to a more modern, more productive, competitive, resilient, and sustainable agriculture. This is the evolving Philippine food systems. We are a part of the UN Food Systems Summit. We have conducted national food systems dialogues relevant to having now to institutionalize our thinking towards agri-food systems. So again, this will only happen much more with interventions or contributions in a big way by higher educational institutions like that of the UP Los Baños. I hope that the National University in Agriculture like UPLB will be, really trailblazing in many respects towards this healthier people, healthier economy, and healthier planet. Based from these dialogues that we have been doing these last 2 months in relation towards the UN Food Systems Summit Action Tracks, 5 of them are being highlighted, and these are the action areas related to the action tracks that we would like to pursue with you. Again, sowing the seeds for the future for Philippines food systems. So action track 1 is all about access to safe, nutritious food for all. 2 is sustainable consumption. 3 is nature positive production. 4 is livelihoods and equality. And 5, resilience to vulnerabilities, shocks, and stresses. So down below are various action areas that we are populating. Again, this time around, UPLB must come forward, present yourselves to giving the best of knowledge and information so that we are going to have that kind of future agriculture that we want to have 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So research for development and techno transfer will be necessary to enhance our key strategies in relation to these various action areas. It's never too early in life to make a difference, but we have to be purposeful. We have to be, having that foresight, that innovative mind to really create that kind of agriculture we want. That, we should envision a more prosperous countryside, more sustainable, more healthy, in the light of all of these pandemics that we have. Even, for example, we are not only experiencing COVID-19 pandemic, but there is also one pandemic in the world today in regard to agriculture, and that's the African swine fever. And, this African swine fever is existing starting from Kenya 100 years ago. And, journeying around the globe, around this planet, and wreaking havoc now to Philippine economy in livestock subsector, which is contributing more than 16% to the gross value added in agriculture. Now, in this connection, in regard to transboundary diseases and pests, we are creating the institutions for the future now. We have set up a center for transboundary animal diseases hosted in CLSU, but the higher level of Zoonosis Institute will be set up in partnership and to be hosted by UP Los Baños, including that of the facility level 3 that could develop vaccines for these problems in animals. I have also mentioned UPLB must elevate itself much more the National Crop Protection Center of UPLB to become the transboundary center for plants, diseases, and insects. So let's elevate our game. Next slide. There are many innovations taking place, but hoping with now this mindset of having to be a part to solving big development challenges like what I have mentioned. Even now, there are many transboundary pests and diseases in crops that we are observing. And so really innovation system is necessary. We need to modernize the food systems and seeing to it that the newer disruptive technologies can also be utilized in a big way and continue to innovate, continue to do technology development in terms of digital agriculture, disruptive technologies, and the like. Now, is urban agriculture key for the future? I would say yes. And one of the models I would like to highlight is the one being promoted, advocated by UPLB. And we have to agree with you. Last night, I mentioned to the cabinet in my report that we need to upscale urban agriculture. And because in urban areas, there's so much, population to feed, we have to tap the power of vertical farming, precision agriculture, anything that we can do to even solve, having to have urban agriculture, you also solve problems of transport already. So the more we set up big high-rise urban farms, that would be key to feeding the future much more in urban areas. Now, because of climate change, that we, if there is one big challenge in the world today, it's the impact of climate change. And we need now even our agriculture has to be more resilient, has to be more smart. We have to create more, enhance the resiliency of the farming and fishing sector, resiliency of the agricultural villages, so that they are able to adapt and be a part of the mitigation process to really reduce our carbon footprints in this planet. So climate change innovations are key in really having this kind of future agriculture that we have to have. So you are among Philippine agriculture's brightest hopes. Kayo po ay dapat trailblazers at umaasa po kami, UPLB, you should be more relevant, not only excellent. So ang partnership natin will continue. Our commitments are always there to enhance the research for development program of UPLB so that you can be more, impacting to the farming and fishing communities. And this is something very important to mention. As I've said in the beginning, nung una pa itong aking engagement with you today, sinabi ko na you need to reach out, you need to impact into the growth of your municipality, your province, and the region, if not the country, the whole country. Your researches must not end up in publications alone. We know that's important to publish. We know it is important to put them in libraries, but it is also important that these technologies and innovations must reach the grassroots and will impact into the growth and development of the Philippine agriculture. So I was mentioning kanina, disruptive technologies that have now been developed somewhere else. We need to bring them here and adapt them to Philippine conditions. Those that are relevant, let's continue to scale up its use and see to it that we be a part of the development process of disruptive technologies for agriculture and rural development. So working together towards prosperity, development, reform, science, and innovation will be key. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas.